This isn't easy, but it will completely change the way that you train. From the strength and skill in the jungles of Brazil to the bodyweight assassins of the Alaskan mountains, there is one unique method of training that both heals the entire body and builds the most savage power, movement, and sustainability for life. From philosophers to fighters, from firefighters to farmers, and every combination in between. It's the most underestimated and virtually unknown style of training that produces some of the most unreal results while lending itself to any and every modality of movement imaginable. It was the backbone of all my own training and what gave me the strength for easy muscle ups, gave me the power for all the flips, gave me resilience over injuries, gave me the coordination, flexibility, and awareness for fighting and grappling, and gave me ageless athleticism. And you'll see all of our students from all ages in this video doing them as well. And I'll share it with you today, so take notes and put them in the comments. Also, if there are any specific moves or skills you want me to do more in-depth videos on, put those in the comments too. Now first, a simple question. If you are a human, which I imagine you are if you're listening to this, then what is the ideal for powerful human movement? Perhaps it's not that simple of a question, but as we answer it together today, you'll understand more than anyone you know about this topic, and by the end of the video, you'll have an understanding of how to do it and even a challenge with a special prize for you as well. But the fitness industrial complex, like every other institution of mass destruction, promotes every perversion of physical training imaginable so that they can blind you to the truth and sell you more powders instead of true power. This leads to the masses believing many false ideas that we must first expose before we can build on a strong foundation. False ideas like thinking the powerful ideal is lifting weights in linear paths for 1 hour every day just to go back to the office life for the rest of the day, or that visible abs and bulging biceps are the ideal, or that sitting sedentary all day and then sitting on a bike, a rower, or a weight machine for more is the ideal, or that the perfect morning routine, the perfect pre-workout, or the perfect pack of supplements is the ideal for powerful human movement. Instead of believing the lies of a faulty Aristotelian compartmentalized method, or a Unitarian system that institutionalizes the world, or an addiction-fueled, social media-driven society, let's take a step down the narrow path and build a powerful body and mind through a holistic, skills-based approach. Listen, if a six-pack, a lean physique, and good-looking muscles are all you're after, I'll show you the truth in 15 seconds. Water, whole foods, 3 to 5 sets of 5 to 15 reps, 1 to 2 muscle groups per day, add some weight each week to your lifts, do something for cardio a couple times a week. This is literally all there is to basic fitness, but unfortunately, you'll develop weak links, joint issues, back pain, poor mindset down the road because the lifestyle of powerful movement is the true ideal. Yet, what if I told you that you could have all the mobility and movement of a master, all the freedom and flow, all the strength, and all the special skills if you simply started learning power moves? Something that was the backbone of all of my own training. You don't even need to master power move, but simply by starting from the beginning and learning a few steps of each, you could develop more mobility and strength than you imagined. People underestimate power moves. Either they think they're a spectacle to watch and to be amazed by, or they think they can't do them, or they don't understand the point entirely or see their value. And mainstream trainers can't do them, can't teach them, or don't even know they exist, when in fact, they're actually an ancient practice, like the sweeps of Shaolin, the floreio of capoeira, the cleanest flares in the world of Brazil, to the windmills of wushu, and they have timeless benefit. So first, let's break down what they are. In Powerbatics, power moves is element number 3 of 5. Power moves is built upon the first element, which is handstand. I talk about this elsewhere and about how it builds 6 different handstand positions and holistic flexibility and strength, like handstand, planche, V-stand, stalder, crab, and hollowback. And then power moves essentially, at their core, puts all those positions into active motion on all 3 axes, X, Y, and Z. But don't be overwhelmed or feel bad if you can't do them yet. It does require you to evolve quite a bit more than what's expected at a mainstream yoga or strength class, where they hold the same pose for 5 minutes. We are combining multiple positions with speed and power. Like a flare, one of our pinnacle moves. If we play it slow motion, you'll see it starts in a 3-point stance, then passes through a one-handed handstand, then a V-stand, then a one-handed handstand on the other side, then a straddle planche, and then onto to the next one. But don't be overwhelmed, because the steps for learning them are as simple as this around the world you see right here.
Slide over.
Right.
Now lift. Left leg up. Third base.
Let's go. Switch legs, other side.
And
One of the big things you have to be careful of when you're doing this.
And remember, at the base, all of the skills of power moves are simply your ability to move omnidirectionally as a human. That's it. Breakdancers use power moves, so do circus performers, so do horseback riders. Even very successful grapplers and fighters did them as foundation for their training. And knowing power moves could save you from a slip and fall. Now, before we get into the specific power moves, how do they heal the body? In 3 ways. First, power moves are preventative of injury to an almost unfair degree. In simple terms, they keep you from injury. You build such a powerful core, transverse abdominis, rectus abdominis, and obliques, from all the twisting that your spine is protected for life. Your shoulders gain such mobility and strength that rotator cuff issues become a distant memory. Your hips and hamstrings have such flexibility that pulled muscles are from a bygone era. It's almost difficult to believe. Most gym goers won't. They're lost. Second, power moves are rehabilitative. They're the first thing I sought to attain after a bicep tear.
that felt good.
The goal of reacquisition of the power moves themselves eradicates scar tissue, immobility, and any form of mediocrity, because they force you to build a range of motion, the patience, the flexibility, and the strength to support the skill, which is usually 3 times more than you need for the skill. Third, power moves speed up. I do think there is something magical to maintaining higher levels of strength as skill. And couple that with cold water plunges, nature, and real food, there seems to be much higher defense to illness, disease, and injury. And there seems to be a faster resilience to recovery, almost like muscle memory, but for the other systems of the body, as well as and especially for the mind. It's like you built yourself to function at a much higher level, and the body surges forward to get back to that level. And there are 2 entry-level power moves I'll show you, and then 5 pinnacle moves, as we call them. The first entry-level power move we teach is the sweep. That helps build every other skill, plus corrects all the hip, knee, ankle, and hamstring tightness and stiffness you might be experiencing. Everyone even up to 50, 60, 70 years young can start doing these, or even raw beginners just learning handstands. They may look easy, but the illusion of simplicity is the demonstration of mastery. It starts in a snake stance and rotates the leg around the y-axis, both forward and backward. Try and see. And if you do, you'll probably find hip, knee, ankle, and hamstring tightness exposed. But what exposes weak links also corrects them. The second entry-level power move is the spindle. The spindle is essentially just rotating around the y-axis, using your upper body, 1 hand and 1 foot at a time. But it also opens the door to crazy combos. Now, spindles will test your coordination and even rights and lefts. Disorientation and dizziness is common because people's vestibular systems are usually underdeveloped. That's why people get dizzy when they're just doing a simple front roll. Yet people will add that to the list of allegedly unresolvable complaints, along with age, aches and pains, and balance. This is unfortunate because simply the act of doing makes things better. From flexibility to strength to balance. Okay, so those were the 2 entry-level power moves. And now I'll quickly overview the 5 pinnacle moves. The first of which is the swipe. This is rotating on the x-axis as you twist, and on the y-axis as your body orbits the center point. It also shifts across the z-axis. This is one of the first moves I learned. It's used as a martial arts kick. Once you start looking, actually, you'll see a plethora of applications for the skills I'm showing you here. The second pinnacle power move is the windmill. Far more than a party trick, you're building omnidirectional dexterity and insane upper body strength, core strength, and hip and leg mobility, because you are literally doing hand balancing while rotating from crab stand to back laying straddle to crab stand. When done slowly or when done rapidly, you're building explosive core strength and powerful hip engagement. It's just simply ninja level, straight from the Temple of Shaolin. It was even used in the UFC to escape a deadly position, which I'm not advocating for MMA and all the brain injury stuff, but the athleticism seen here is high level. The windmill for me was the gateway move to everything else you see. The third pinnacle move is the almighty flare. Starting from around the world and then building to full flares. The flare will force you to gain splits, shoulder flexibility, insane upper body strength, powerful core strength, hip and leg mobility, and patience, focus, discipline, and resilience. As I mention all the time, flares were one of the first things that I worked on to gain back after that bicep tear and surgery. Now they're just fun and part of normal cardio training. And it's incredible to see our students, even in their 60s, learning flares.
Good, and pull it to home. Pull it to home. Good.
And then we go from there to power move number 4, spinning handstands. And then power move number 5, aerial spinning handstands, which can be done low, middle, or high. The best way to train these moves is 1 to 3 tries of full power, maxing out, followed by resting for 1 to 3 minutes. Now, interestingly, there was a study done that showed that doing sprints with the same intervals increased testosterone like crazy. Funny enough, we train this way all the time for power moves that are virtually full body wind sprints on the hands, and then for free running with sprinting into vaults and insanely explosive tumbling passes. But not only are there the power moves themselves individually, but they connect with each other in an infinite number of sequences. And still further, they connect with flips in all directions. As a matter of fact, all the way back in 1999, I began connecting power moves with flips, like flare to 540 and cork to air flare, because I figured out a way to combine the multi-axis rotations, and it just felt cool. Nowadays, we call them dynacombos, and we connect 10 moves or more into katas that we use for level requirements for each element and level of Powerbatics. There's a contest for a $1,000 prize too on the Powerbatics channel, specifically for power moves. Option 1 is to do this basic demo kata shown right here. It's super easy, and it can literally apply to your training starting today. Option 2 is to do 10 moves and connect them into your own creative kata. With at least 1 handstand position, 1 trick, and 1 power move. Listen, even trying the kata or some of these basic entry-level power moves will completely change the way you train. It'll be twofold. You'll realize where your weak links are, and you'll realize your true potential. Then the quest begins. If you want to join the journey with us, use the link and you'll get free training, student stories, and be able to connect with me and my team. If you want to actually train with us, schedule a time and you can be up and running in the next 24 to 48 hours.
Good work. Heck yeah. You got a good mindset about it. I think power moves would be really good for you.
And be making more progress than you have in the last 24 or 48 months. Seriously, apply these principles and the sky's the limit. See you in the next video and in training soon.